I am so sorry I haven't been around lately. And so I'm going to make it up to you by doing a video on the subject that you guys are most interested in. How do I know what you're interested in? Because I can look at my old videos and see where people watch more. And so I was watching this old video of mine about how to paint cats, and it has like over 50,000 views, which is amazing. I always appreciate that. But the part that got the most views by far is the color mixing section, where I was sharing about how I like to use often in paintings just a few paints. And there's a few pairings of paints that come to my mind that are amazing because you can get so many different good colors from just mixing two paint colors. So I'm going to talk about not one pairing, not two pairings. Maybe I'll do three. Definitely, I have three. I have two that I love, and I'm going to try a brand new mix to me by Cavanaugh. Cavanaugh has a paint palette out, which is amazing. And I was watching some video where she mentioned this combination of two paints that she loves to use in her portrait work that gets a very broad range of hues. So I'm going to try that out. So I'm excited to try a new paint combination because I love these paint combinations, because what happens is when you paint with a really limited palette, the advantage of that is that your paintings hang together better because all the colors are related to each other. They're kind of what we call analogous colors. They're next to each other on the color wheel, and they have to be because they were all mixed from just two colors. So that's really cool. So I am going to share with you my favorite combinations of paint colors. I'm going to try out this Cavanaugh one. But anyway, for those of you who have missed me, I'm so sorry I've been gone. I got a new studio and it's so exciting and a little distracting, might I add. So I've been playing in my studio a lot. I've had two big projects. I'm about to announce a big online event that I'm participating in, and I've been really hard on myself to get the footage that I'm putting in that event perfect. So I painted several things over and over and over again. I painted several different subjects to try to find the perfect subject. So I've been doing a ton of painting. And so I'm going to catch up my online paid members with a lot of that footage that I'm not using in those lessons for my Patreon. So I will have some butterflies coming out. I will have some really beginner friendly footage coming out on my Patreon and probably this channel too. Of course, I love all of you. I really do. And I really appreciate my Patreon members who make this possible for me to be at home, be available to my son. I can drop everything at a moment's notice, and the world will keep spinning if I don't keep painting. Let's go ahead and dive into this footage. And it's just going to be mixing colors from a few different pairs of paint tubes, if that makes sense. And these paints are amazing and I love them so much. So let's go ahead and take a look. And the first one we're going to look at is Burnt Sienna and French Ultramarine. All right, so I just wanted to show you this painting. I don't like it, but what I want you to know is that all the colors in this painting, except for the green eyes and the little bit of red in the ears, all this can be mixed from French Ultramarine and Burnt Sienna. And I want to show you all the colors that can be mixed from just these two colors. And more importantly, all the values you can get from just these two colors. And that's not possible with all paint tubes because like you're going to see later in this demonstration, like if you mix cerulean with any other color, no matter how dark you get it, it's not going to get completely black like this is, because cerulean always dries really light. So you've got to know what colors to use when you want to get a range of values, and to make a painting beautiful you need to have lights, mediums, and darks in every single painting. In general, that is just a general rule. Let's get some French Ultramarine, some Burnt Sienna. This might go in a very dark place. I think this is the first time I've shown it anywhere, but this is my bow hung paper and I never use it. So why not use it for this purpose? In fact, I'm going to use the back of this painting to demonstrate all these mixes. So let's start on the very left end of the spectrum with burnt sienna, pure burnt sienna. And this has plenty of water in it. So there's the darker, almost straight from the tube, burnt sienna. And then if we blot out our brush and add some water, we can see the lighter version. So burnt sienna goes from a very rich color all the way down to a really light color. Pretty much all colors can be lightened very much. All right, let's now do a mix of burnt sienna and a little bit of French ultramarine. Just a little bit. So that gives you more chocolate brown. So that's the richest color. And there I've added a little bit of water and more water still until we get down to there. Okay. All right. How about if we do pure burnt sienna and pure French ultramarine in equal amounts? We get this black color. Let's add a little little water to it so we can see what it looks like. It's still a little bit of chocolate brown when you water it down. So now we'll add more blue to it. So there's, with even more blue added, a little bit of watered down version. I have like some burnt sienna up in here and it's stuck in my brush. Let me try to get a better mix. How this is almost looks like pure black. Let me do another mix here. This is even more blue. And then let's water it down and see what it looks like. There we have our gray. That's leaning more cool. And let's get even more burnt sienna in our mix. I mean, even more French ultramarine. So this is going to be a gray blue. Let's add even more French ultramarine for almost pure blue. Don't want puddles. All right, so that's a very gray blue. So look at the range we're getting from just these two colors. Let's do pure blue now. French ultramarine is just a spectacular color. Okay, so that's the darkest. And then keep adding water. So that is quite the range of color that you can get just from ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Lots of grays, brown grays, chocolates, almost glowing orange here, all the way down to bright blue. Just a beautiful range. And then when they granulate out, they're so pretty. So that's another thing that's gorgeous about this combination. Okay, another really great paint combination that has a whole range of hues and a whole range of values too. I forgot to mention that. The great thing about these combinations of paint is that they can go from very, very light to very, very dark. And not all paint colors can do that. Like if you mixed the burnt sienna with cerulean blue, you would never get a dark, dark black because cerulean just isn't going to give you the darks you need. So ultramarine blue and burnt sienna will give you a range from dark to light, from black to almost glowing reddish yellow brown. And then the next combination is burnt sienna and Windsor violet, which will also give you a very, very dark black all the way up to a very beautiful, bright Windsor violet color. And of course, the ultramarine combination will give you a very bright blue color because you use absolutely no burnt sienna. Duh. So anyway. All right, so let's take a look at burnt sienna and Windsor violet. I've got burnt sienna here and Windsor violet. I did this already once and some of my footage went off camera. So funny. Ha 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 ha. So yes, this is the second time I've done this demonstration, but this second time's better. I made some mistakes in that first demonstration, so I meant to do it that way. All right, let's start again with our pure burnt sienna. Now we're doing the mix of burnt sienna plus the Windsor violet
dioxazine version of Winsor Violet by Winsor & Newton. This is going to be really pretty. Okay, so obviously we got pure burnt sienna. This is dried a little bit, so it's a little bit, doesn't want to work with me as much. But so again, there's my pure burnt sienna. And then let's add a little bit of purple to it. Look how gorgeous this is granulating out, by the way. I just think that is so pretty. All right, so here's a burnt sienna with just a little bit of the Winsor Violet added. Very pretty, I might add. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so that's a more chocolate, but it almost has like this really special glow. It's hard to describe. I'm gonna cheat and get some more soft burnt sienna from up there because I want this to be a little bit thicker. Okay, so here's a more rich mix of burnt sienna and Winsor Violet. And it just absolutely, when it comes out of your brush, it really will excite you because the granulation properties of burnt sienna makes it granulate out a little bit, and it just gives it this most gorgeous glowing effect. It's really pretty. All right, now let's see if we can get an even blacker leaning mix by making it more burnt, more Winsor Violet. This one doesn't get as black. This is almost pure black looking to me. This mix doesn't get perfect black, but it gets pretty darn dark and moody, which is almost more moody because the colors separate out a little bit, so they still have a little bit of character, more than this black, but this is granulating out once you add water to it. So they're both gorgeous. Who are we kidding? Okay, let's try the same mix, but more Winsor Violet. All right, so there's some rich Winsor Violet. Winsor Violet is a very strong color. It can get away from you. But wow, what a glowing Winsor Violet that makes. Okay, let's do even more Winsor Violet now. Just gorgeous. All right, now I'll try to do pure Winsor Violet for y'all. Pretty. I mean, I think a painting painted with these Winsor Violets and burnt siennas, that would be gorgeous. Look how this is flocculating out. Love that.
All right, the next paint combination I want to use is from Cavanaugh's palette. I'm so excited to try this. I've been wanting an excuse to play with her paint, but I've just been too caught up in my own projects. Here is Cavanaugh's palette. And let's take a look. Let's open it up. Well, actually, I'm going to open it on camera. And I forget which were the two colors. I think it was Pyrrole Orange and maybe Sap Green that she uses for skin colors. Sap Green and Pyrrole Orange, I would never think of that. So I'm very excited to see what these two colors do together. Let's take a look.
Should we do what we've all been waiting for? This is the box that came in, and it includes Nickel Azo Yellow, Pyrrole Orange, which I have discovered too, apart from her, and then I was excited to see that she has it in her palette, Perylene Crimson, Sap Green, Ultramarine Turquoise, and Payne's Gray. And by the way, if you would like me to swatch all these colors and do a little bit of a mixing video just with all these colors, let me know in the comments. That could be fun. But let's open this up. All right. Very nice packaging. I like the tin. And it looks like they've been a little bit naughty. They were nicely organized like so. But she says she uses Sap Green with Perylene Crimson a lot to mix some skin tones. So let's see what they do together. So here's some Sap Green. I haven't used this color in years. Here's the Perylene Crimson. I've never used this color that I can remember anyway. So this will be fun. So let's start with green, Sap Green. on one end. Get it nice and mixed into my brush here. That is beautiful. I'll give it to you. That is a beautiful color. I'm just going to add to this puddle a little bit of the Pearland Maroon. And then we get that color. Interesting. All right. Let's make it even more Pearland strong here. All right. It's starting to look brown. That's interesting. Okay, I'm going to mix more Pearland into it. Nice. She also says in her packaging that she uses this red in the creases of noses and lips and things like that because it's the perfect gray red. That's really pretty. That would be a pretty replacement for maybe burnt sienna if you needed it. Not sure when I would need that, but it would be fun to play with. All right, here comes almost pure Pearland red. Okay, now I'm going to clean out my brush really well and give you the pure, unadulterated Pearland red here. Get it all mixed up. It's like a beet red almost. Very pretty. Those are pretty, and they really look like they're glowing from inside.
All right, thank you so much for joining me on this tutorial. I hope you really got a lot out of this. I had a lot of fun, and it was fun for me to learn a new paint combination as well. And be sure to subscribe because I do usually upload at least twice a month. I try to do every week, but I haven't been able to. I do a ton of shorts, and I make sure most of my shorts have something really useful in them. So I don't waste your time very much with my shorts unless I'm showing you my studio. But I love to put really good little, most important, best little snippets of tutorials that I put in my shorts. So be sure to check out my shorts too. And check out my community tab if you want to stay in closer touch with me and see what I'm doing. And you can also follow me for free on Patreon so you never miss a thing when I do publish something. So I hope you will do that. I have a Facebook group and you are more than welcome to join. It is free. You can post your paintings there. I do make a point to comment on every single painting that someone posts on there. So I would love to get to know you better and your work better. And so you can do that by joining my Facebook community. Because I do a lot of animal paintings. So this combination lends itself very well to natural colors, like what you find in fur colors. I painted this new painting. This is actually painted it twice because okay. I actually painted this painting with a very limited palette of yellow ochre and burnt sienna mostly. So this cat was really yellow, so I needed a more yellow combination. So I didn't use ultramarine blue. I used yellow ochre and burnt sienna. And so this is my beginner version. I painted this one first and it was really advanced, complicated, and I'm still editing all that footage, but I wanted to make something simpler for my more beginner-oriented students who want to learn wet and wet techniques, but they are scared of wet and wet techniques. Don't be scared. You can do it. Even if you paint trees or you paint anything that needs something soft in it, you need to learn to paint wet and wet. So even if you don't want to paint this cat, I will just give my tutorial a little plug here and you will learn so much about painting wet and wet just watching this one tutorial on my Patreon. But when you join my Patreon, you get access to over 100 tutorials all at once. Wouldn't it be nice to have 100 of yourselves so you could just watch all that footage? But you will learn a lot. So anyway, that's my little plug. Sorry, I'll stop. And until next time, go watercolor your world. Bye, everybody.